Found the confidence survey very interesting. First question for you is, are you surprised by the general optimism that comes through in the report?
Well, there's optimism and pessimism, quite frankly. I mean, the optimism, which was quite surprising in terms of the proportion of respondents, the optimism about the number of deals, i.e. the expectation that deal activity will increase significantly over the next 12 months. But that was tempered by some pretty pessimistic views along exits, which of course the longer you take to exit, the longer the hold period is, and therefore it has a knock-on effect on returns. So there's a bit of optimism and pessimism in the report, but certainly there's genuine belief that there's going to be many more deals in the next 12 months.
And how did you see sort of the mood at the conference? Did what you saw here link in nicely with what the survey shows?
Yeah, to some extent. I mean, I thought it was a bit subdued, frankly, at the conference. But I think that if you talk to what I would call the better private equity houses, they've got their act together. They've got a very clear strategy. They've focused on adding value, which I think is a bit of a myth in this region. Some of them are genuinely able to add value, and they do it. They've got deals in the pipeline, and we know from the work we're doing on the due diligence side that we had an uptick over the last month or so in private equity firms having got hold of a genuine deal that they think has got a strong likelihood of completing. So they're spending money with us, which is good.
Where do you see the value add, though?
The value add from
when we talk about at these conferences value addition. I mean, from where you're sitting, where do you think private equity firms can genuinely add value in a private equity portfolio company?
Well, I think very few, because it takes a lot of people, but very few are geared up to provide their own people to go into, generally roll their sleeves up and add value from that point of view. What I think private equity where it can add value, and I'm not sure it does it all the time, perhaps very rarely, is identify those areas which ought to be looked at, and they can bring in and cause there to be brought in consultants, advisors to address specific needs and specific weaknesses. So you don't actually I don't think the private equity firm itself has to provide all that. I think it just needs to be able to help the investee company on its way with a proper strategy, and where there are operational weaknesses, gets people in who can help the company address those.
And that's partly the role that you wish to play from a point of view.
Oh, well, yes, I guess so. Yeah, we're doing some of that as well. But I think a lot of talk is about being hands-on, adding value. I'm not sure many of the industry really understand what that really means, but it doesn't. I don't think it means you have to buy in a raft of experienced former CEOs, former CFOs, and have them sprayed out in your investee companies across your portfolio. I think it does mean you've got to have people who are sitting on the board as part of good governance, sitting on the board, and identifying where there are weaknesses, where there are possibility for improvements, and bringing in and getting people in to help on a consulting type basis.
I would love to get your feedback on the question of valuation, and the survey does sort of hint at entry multiples. And there's been a lot of debate going on over the last 2 days about whether valuations are coming down. Our experience from the HBG point of view is that valuations are actually not coming down. What's your view?
There's still quite a gap, actually, and we do find that because a lot of the work we do is mid-market selling, advising on the sales of businesses. If we've got a current owner who has an unrealistic view of valuation, we're probably not going to take that piece of work on. Because we know it's a tough job persuading them that the new reality of their value is not as quite as high as there's still a gap. And that will, until that gap closes, or closes a bit more, I think there will be not a big increase in the number of deals, frankly.
Right. Do you have any views on, in terms of how one might judge the valuation of a company, in terms of when you see a good asset and there's a lot of competition for it? Is there ever going to be a strategic view that a private equity firm should take when deciding on an offer price?